Complete.
You know already.
Yes, sir.
Another day.
Mm.
I feel a long time I not slung so. That continue right now, man. You man say run it.
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
yeah?
You know,
Yeah,
can't
you
kick off
want
the
to read
right
that?
way, too.
What?
You know, can't kick off the right way, too.
Yeah, referee.
Yes, yeah, give me whistle. Give me whistle. Hey, greetings everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Perfect Balance Stride Class, a place where conscious-minded and like-minded individuals are guided towards their true potential through collective reasoning. We have with us today Brother Dulani, Okavango, Bingi,
Give thanks for
Yaga,
life.
aka Teacher Ma'at. I'm yours truly, Ras Dada, and we are the Perfect Balance Trad class. You know, we do give thanks for this moment in this
Sorry.
dispensation of time. We see a lot of things unfolding globally, and we use a word in our previous reasoning where we spoke about distractions. And that reasoning bring us full circle to this morning's reasoning because we see everybody focused on the conflict in Iran, the US and Israel, and in the midst of all of this chaos, we see a bombshell coming out of the United Nations. So it just brings me again to the distraction aspect of this system. So what we're talking about, for those who aren't aware, is that the United Nations in their assembly made a great announcement, even though it's not breaking news in the sense of everybody knew this. So, but just to formalize it, they made a statement this week. So we're gonna go to our international correspondent Bingi to to give us the facts
Man, I
about this
beat you up, Bingy.
statement about
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Pure
about
beat.
Dada,
about
before
this
we go to some
statement.
me like your new shirt. Would you mind to tell us what inspired your shirt?
Well, it would be a great breach of confidence for me to do such. So I will not do that. You know, because I have to protect the interests of those involved. Okay.
Okay. Go yeah, biggie.
There's a confidentiality clause.
Yes. There's a TDA. There's a TDA. NDA. There's a NDA.
Yeah,
NDA.
yeah.
There's a
A
NDA.
memorandum of understanding. Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So,
But
so
you biggie.
Bingi, we'd like you to just give a synopsis of this breaking news that's coming out of the UN Assembly this week. So the viewers and those that are aware
Yeah.
can you know get
Very,
up to speed with what's going on.
yeah, very significant what happened this week at the UN. So the UN resolution calling slavery a crime against humanity and the gravest crime committed to human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Pass a resolution acknowledging that, right?
Right.
But even though there's an acknowledgement of this, of slavery being the greatest crime, we also have three countries who who voted against it, and we have the European nations who abstained.
From the vote.
So we have Argentina, the US, and Israel
Mm-hmm.
voting against recognizing slavery as the greatest crime to humanity. And
Okay.
we also have the EU nations
Abstaining from the
abstaining,
vote.
meaning that they really don't care, right? But it's significant, right? It's significant for us as Africans to see that, hey, listen, at least they're being recognized. We being recognized as people who went through this great atrocity and still go through it today, right?
Today, yes, sir. We still
Yeah,
bear
and we still,
the effects.
yeah,
The
the
effects of it.
repercussions are still there today, right? We as Africans that we still paying the price, so to speak. So it's a very significant move at the UN, what happened at the UN, right? But what's more significant is these countries, or I shouldn't say more significant, or what's noteworthy are these countries who abstained, one, and who voted no. Because it also is, we keep saying this over and over, all goes on as before and is real, right? So,
Bingy,
uh
is there any information on who brought this forward?
yeah,
I think
it was Ghana.
It was Ghana.
So Ghana was the ones, or the
Brought forward the resolution.
leading country
Yes, sir.
pushing the agenda, right? We
Yes,
should say,
sir.
because
Yes, sir.
it's a collaboration, right? A resolution.
Yeah.
But Ghana was one of the main countries, I should say, pushing for this resolution.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Brother Lonnie.
Yeah, I think we should also, since we are introducing the subject, we should give an evolution of to how do we got to this stage.
Got you.
We have to look at the CARICOM collaboration with the AU. This is where the genesis of it began.
Got you.
There have been a series of meetings between AU and CARICOM over the last 5 years in particular. It culminated in the Accra Declaration and the Accra Proclamation that took place in 2023 in Ghana under the leadership of Nana Adolfo. He actually started the process, and they actually declared it then crime against humanity. But because when we declare something by ourselves, it doesn't have any. It is not taking us any significant mandate. So Adolfo, he lost the election, but thankfully, John Mahatma is also a Pan-African, is also overstand this struggle and has pick up the struggle, pick up the flames and carry to the UN. And he has made a significant, what you call lobbying across the spectrum.
See it.
Across the US, many of the organizations that we are familiar with, the civil rights organizations such as NAACP, National Action Network, the Congressional Black Caucus, and many others was rally, and they all supported it. In the UK, the All-Party Parliamentary Commission of Inquiry, not the commission, the All-Party Parliamentary Group on African Reparation, under the leadership of Roberto Ben Bella in the UK MP, she also endorsed it, and many of the grassroots organizations like Stop the Mangamizi campaign them. So you see, it was a wide, broad spectrum of
collaboration.
So a lot of collaboration took place to bring it out. Even the language of the way it is worded, I know personally that the UK contingency had an effect on the language, because we are very keen on language and how we restore the dignity of our ancestors. So yes, one of those give respect and highlight to all those who participated in bringing it this far and to where it is today.
And before we go on, I just want to read a snippet of the actual article that came out, right? And it goes, the UN General Assembly on Wednesday adopted a resolution declaring the trafficking of enslaved Africans the gravest crime against humanity, and calling for reparations as a concrete step towards remedying historical wrongs. The resolution also urges the prompt and unhindered restitution of cultural items, including artwork, monuments, museum pieces, documents, and national archives to their countries of origin. The vote in the 193-member world body was 123-3, with 52 abstentions. Argentina, Israel, and United States were the 3 members voting against the resolution. The
Can you read the
United
numbers
States,
again?
it was 123 to 3.
Members.
Voted,
Members is
voted.
193.
Voted yes.
193.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it really only had 126 votes, out of which 123 agreed and 3 didn't agree. Right? So so it had 52 abstinence, and then Argentina, Israel, and US voting against. The United Kingdom and all 27 members of the European Union were amongst those that abstained.
Right.
So that's just a little snippet.
190 how many?
193 members. UN has 193 members.
Point of information. The 19 I've been looking into that 193 number. It doesn't really add up. I think there's 193 countries. But I think it's only 176 in the UN, because it doesn't add up. If you add 123
to
3 122
and 51
and 3, it doesn't add up.
Yeah,
right, as far as the number.
Yeah, as far as the number.
You know, I never check it, you know. I could bring up it, Brother Dennis. One to the rest.
Good observation.
Yeah. I am suspecting that there are nations that are not members of the UN that exist on this planet. I'm not sure who they are, but the numbers doesn't add up.
Right.
Because I've always been saying 175. It's recently I've been hearing 190 something, because it was my understanding was 175.
Got you.
But I know there's new nation been born in the last 10 years or so that I may not be aware of.
Which is true, because listen, even when I do a deep dive, it's still saying there are currently 193 member states of the United Nations.
Got you.
Yeah, but
well, probably you could have had voided votes as well too, so that could be another.
And you can look at places like Vatican City, the Holy See, and probably some other religious domain and principality who's got sovereignty like that, maybe included in the vote. I want to look at what does it mean for those countries who abstain, and what it means in terms of the significance for African people based on this UN resolution. So abstaining, what does it mean? It just means that they don't block the resolution and their vote is count as, it is not count as a no vote.
Right.
And it does not show support. It's like they're taking a middle ground in the argument where they are not choosing any sides. And there are reasons for these. And when we look at some of the reasons why some powerful nations abstain on issues involving African justice, reparations, historical crimes, and many Pan-African thinkers interpret this as a refusal to confront their own historical role, a desire to avoid legal or moral responsibility, and a diplomatic tactic to protect economic or the geopolitical interests in the sphere. So these are some of the reasons why they refuse to vote on such an issue. And I've coined a name for them. I've coined a name for them going forward. They are all slavery deniers. They are all slavery deniers. So what they are denying basically is that slavery didn't happen.
But Mayaga, I would say they're slavery supporters.
Yeah.
Well,
I
well,
would
Yeah.
say them as slavery supporters rather
I
than
mean,
deniers.
I think that's more
That's a
fitting.
better term, Bingy. That's what
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
why
think,
the third class is so powerful, Bingy.
yeah,
I
yeah,
like that term. They are
yeah.
slavery supporters.
Them as slavery
I don't think
supporters.
that's in question, I think the record is very clear that they have been the instigator, organizer, the
And
criminals behind
beneficiaries.
beneficiaries of the enslavement of African people.
Mm-hmm.
This maneuver to abstain is no more than a way of avoiding accountability.
Yep.
It's a legal tactics
Mm-hmm.
because we're not talking about voting and crime and what is criminality. It now hold them accountable. See, because it also called for formal apology,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And here's
And
the reason
establishment
why.
of reparational funds as well.
And,
Mm-hmm.
So basically, they don't want to take responsibility for the action of their descendants, for the victim and the descendants of slavery. They are avoiding that responsibility on the grounds that in those times there were no rules, there were no laws which
Right.
govern against those things. So for them, they see that as normal. In their mind, they see that as normal, and their descendants, even in this day, see that as normal.
And that's what the disrespect is. And
Yeah.
here the insult they're putting on us as African and other indigenous people is that they're coming with this argument that enslavement of people, the commoditization of human being was legal. Legal under their system. So your human rights, your sovereignty as an individual and as a people means nothing. Because their laws, the criminal laws, the laws of the criminals, says that it's legal. So we are bound, we are supposed to be bounded by their jurisdiction. That is the depth of the insult that they are perpetrating on us. And we must completely reject that. We must never accommodate those type of faulty premise, those faulty legal argument that says that this talk about retroactive illegality. It was illegal then, it was
It's
immoral
illegal now.
then, and it is immoral now. And it is illegal now. Because human being cannot be turned into a commodity.
Murder was illegal at the time,
should
right?
not.
Should not.
Murder was illegal at the time, right?
Exactly.
Murder
Exactly. So,
was illegal at the time. Rape
Right.
was illegal at the time, right? Kidnapping was illegal at the time, right?
But
It
not
is
for,
shameful and
but they say
scandalous.
not for
Not for
Africans,
Africans.
right?
No,
Not for Africans.
But what
So-
I'm
Right?
saying is,
Yeah.
that the premise that they're gonna say for that is that Africans were seen as subhuman.
Yes.
They were seen
Yes.
as subhuman.
Yes.
But we've come past that now.
yes.
We've come past that, right?
But
Go ahead.
no, we
That's the
cannot,
challenge, sir.
you see, we cannot accept the laws of the criminals.
We agree with
That's
that.
the
But
that's
what we're
that's the
saying
thing.
is, but we're saying that even under their laws, these
Yes.
acts were illegal.
Yeah,
So even under their laws.
But remember said they don't consider us to be human. So
Right, so I'm saying that's the premise that they want to use, but we're past that now. Even under their laws, we're past that.
But this for the first time in our history have declared it to be a crime against humanity.
The thing is,
they're running away from this exposed the hypocrisy of many of these nations who are talking about human rights and justice. I would know it just hollow hypocrisy.
Yeah. So you know, next thing I want to see, right? We talk about the 51 members that abstained from the vote.
52.
52.
All right, 52. So I want to speak on the 3 that voted against the resolution.
Okay, before we move on.
Before we go there, so me take a talk first because a long time I try to get in a sound.
All right.
Come in.
Yeah.
Nah, go down to there now.
Forward in, General.
Yeah, man. So there are lessons to be learned in all of this, right? Because, and we want to talk about the lessons of unity. the European Union, they voted as a bloc. Even though all of these countries didn't participate in slavery, they still vote as a bloc to abstain. You know what I mean?
They chose as a bloc to abstain.
Right. So we as African need to learn from this, because sometimes you see votes going on and say some African country voting one thing, them voting one thing. We need to come together and vote, say, okay, this is what African country and the Caribbean is going to vote, you know, and we're more powerful that way. And another lesson is we've been talking about the development of human being, you know what I mean, and this vote shows that we have not advanced as human beings, because
there should be a unanimous vote.
We are still, it should be, but some still didn't vote. And so the perpetrators didn't vote, you know what I mean? And it's only the people that suffered at the hands of the colonizer and slavery voted for it, you know what I mean? So really and truly, as a world, or as human beings, we haven't advanced, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? We're still stuck in, and we don't want to touch on the other three yet. There's something I forget about it. I still remember. Go on.
Just but before you go on, you know,
I want to say one thing, Okvango. These European countries who voted as a bloc, the EU,
they all of them benefited. They didn't vote.
Who didn't vote? Who abstained? In fact, who abstained? I would say that they all benefited from slavery. Every single one of them. Whether it's economic expansion, consumption, direct participation, indirect participation, all of them benefited from slavery.
Yes, from that time until this time.
I remember what I was going to say. That I was saying that about the legality of it. Not because something is legal mean that it's right. You know what I mean? And it wasn't right then and it wasn't right now. And because it wasn't right, you know what I mean, we don't accept it. We don't matter what their system said, because anybody can put anything in their system. But because it's not right, and we need to right that wrong. Yes. So
so even though the resolution is not legally binding and it doesn't hold anyone responsible, we see that the African Union and CARICOM has been united for once on a particular issue. And I am saying that there are more issues of similarities that exist among us that we can unite on and vote as an African bloc, whether we are within the continent or within the diaspora. So that is something that I think positive came out of this resolution for African people.
Yes, sir.
Teacher Mayat, on the point of the abstain, I think we need to exhaust and debunk the argument, because they made another argument, you know, why they abstain, you know, and we need to just debunk it on the record so our audience can hear the counter argument. They say that by using the word gravis, we are now ranking or competing with sufferation and suffering. And what we say is that there is no comparison.
There is no comparison.
What they have done to African people is unparalleled in human history.
Completely.
No ranking, no comparison.
The level of brutality and for the length of time that we were subjugated for is unparalleled. So this idea
and for the geographical spans as well.
Yes.
For the geographical spans as well.
Yes, over 3 continents. You have enslaved and traffic human beings, African humanity. Is unparalleled in its brutality, in its damage that it has done to our people. So we have to refute that argument, but we are trying to compete with sufferation. That's a weak argument to avoid responsibility.
And the chronological effects to Brother Dulani, because this happened so long ago, and to this present moment, we are still feeling the effects of it.
And we have to be cautious about using the word so long, because it started over 500 years ago.
Right.
But we're still feeling the effect and the direct effect of it.
Right.
Just in
Yes,
our
sir.
grandparents' days. Our grandparents got the last part of the lashes.
Yes, sir.
So it's not
Yes,
too
sir.
long. And it's still
No,
going
when
on.
we say so long ago, we mean it's in its entirety,
beginning.
from
Time
its
span.
inception to
Yes,
present.
the length.
Time
From
span.
its
length of it was-
inception to present.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, my brother. Yeah, man. So we have to refute those arguments because they will use these little weak arguments and
Yes,
try
sir.
to undermine our people. And I want to put on the record that I am so disgusted with the leadership of the Conservative Party in this country that a woman
Oh,
by the
God.
name of Kenny,
Name the country. Name the country.
the United Kingdom, UK,
Yes, sir.
Great, and she's a black woman who
Mhm.
practically denounce and renounce her Nigerian and her African
Heritage.
Identity.
and
Identity. Yes.
affiliation. She said that the UK should have voted no. And it is an insult, it's a disrespect, and it's just sad to know these things are taking place.
But is that a surprise, Brother Lani?
No, because she has been on
It's
the record.
not a
as being
surprise, but it's
Right.
disheartening.
on many occasions.
It's not a
As
surprise,
Bingy
but
said-
it's still disheartening.
As Bingy said, there are many people who are slavery supporter, and some of those people happen to be our own African people.
Mhm.
I
But
think
when we see Africans doing that, we see that they have no identity, right? They're lost, right?
Yes, sir.
Africans who
Identity
represent
crisis.
these ideology have no substance, and we see that they can't defend nothing. They're not defending anything because if you are African making that stance, you're not defending anything. You're
Right.
fighting against yourself. So,
Yes, sir.
so how psychologically damaging is that you fighting against yourself, your
True.
own
And it's not
well-being?
intellectual either. She's just doing her job.
Yeah, that's
any resolution to uplift Africans, any resolution we can benefit African people, our people, you know what I mean? She fight against it. So
fine.
you know what I mean? Once you see something that's gonna benefit African people or benefit minority people in the UK, Kimmy Badenoch is gonna go against it.
Exactly. And it is sad, my brother. I just want to go on the record and say that it's unfortunate. Also, I want to say it is disappointing that I saw Cambodia was one of the obstinate country, and also Fuji.
Yeah.
These are indigenous
Easy.
people that should know better. And Cambodia abstained from the vote.
I didn't
Fuji.
notice that.
Yes, I did. I went through the list to look for these
To
outliers.
see who abstained.
Yes. And they were on it, and I was like, wow. Most of the nation them around the world, including the Arabs, them who was involved in the Trans-Sahara, they voted in favor.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Fire. This is what I want to say still. I want us to look on the 3 countries that voted no. Right?
All right, Dada.
And that is what I want to debunk. Because I want to see what is the rationale or the benefit of them or their voting no. So let's start with Argentina.
Well, Argentina didn't give a reason. Not that I know. I know that America was the one who jumped out, pretty much parroting the British position about hierarchy of crime. That's all they had to say. I don't think they had anything significant to say.
But I'm not even talking about what they had to say, Brother Delany. I'm talking about us looking at the facts and seeing.
I don't get why Argentina vote that way, and maybe just to please, because this is this let's say gang or clique going around now where the Argentina president he want to be a Donald Trump for Argentina, the Donald Trump. So anything where Donald Trump say, that's what he does. You know what I mean? Because he want to be the Donald Trump of Argentina. So I don't
He's
get
Donald Trump's sidekick.
no other way, and they are also responsible for the murdering of Africans, a genocide in Argentina. So I'm wondering if that's also a shield, you know what I mean, to not give compensation, because you know what I mean. There's a great genocide that happened there.
Mhm.
I'm going to go to the list. The Americans.
Hold on, before you go Americans, Argentina. I'm hearing a little historical thing that a lot of the Nazis ended up settling in Argentina as well. Is there any validity to that claim?
Yes, there is. On the subject of Argentina, before we move from Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
Argentina have a history of anti-blackness. I want you to know
Yes,
that. There have been an effort to whiten Argentina.
a genocide.
Genocide, and also a deliberate what you call what them using in Germany, them have a word in Germany, eugenics, where them try to
Eugenics.
breed out the
Okay.
black population.
Mm-hmm.
So they if your child is light skinned, you better not bring a dark skinned man in the house.
Yes,
And
sir.
they always try to push the darker hue out of the mainstream, out of jobs,
Yes,
out of
sir.
functional society.
Yes, sir.
And
Yes, sir.
encourage the lightning. And
Mm-hmm.
bleaching cream is very rampant in Argentina.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and also you say when they had wars in Argentina, they always send the black soldier them on the front line as a deliberate part of their policy to
Yeah.
that expendability of black people in their
Yes,
country
sir.
to try to
Yeah.
get rid of them. So
Yes,
there
sir.
has been a track record. So there are people in that population that has these sentiment.
Right.
Maybe and maybe there's different political forces there, but they are the ones in power now.
So
Those
even
racists.
without them giving an official statement as
Yes.
to an explanation of their no vote, their actions can explain why.
Yes, you can see that
Yeah.
there's sentiment in the
Yeah.
population that carry this type of anti-African, Afrophobic
Yeah.
type of thinking towards African people. So
Yeah.
it's probably easy for them to say, okay, boom, let's vote
Mm.
against them because
Yes, sir.
they mean
Them
nothing
I
to
know nobody. Them I know nobody.
them are nobody. All right, I would
Them I
have
know
said, yeah,
nobody.
yes.
Yeah, Okabongo, you go to US now. Why is that going now?
I don't know if Bingy them wants something from the Argentina still. May I jump the gun?
Go on talk, man.
Okay.
Bingy,
So
you can't hear. Oh, I think Bingy can't hear.
we not hear Bingy? Like you not hear.
Go on talk, Okabongo.
Okay. So the US, them also like
Yeah,
Argentina.
mute the next thing, it's an echo.
I know me.
And how would they?
No.
We not
They
hear
gone,
nothing.
they gone.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Go
So
through that.
the US, just like Argentina, I think their abstinence is based on their history and them not wanted to pay because, once this resolution is accepted, so the next step would be reparations. I know they always been fighting against reparations, you know what I mean? And I think we should stay on the US for a while. No country, no matter the country, has benefited more
And
from
longer.
slavery
And
than
longer.
the US, right?
And longer.
No country has benefit from slavery more than the US. The US is the only country that was captured by the get independence and have like a slave industry working in the country, like a big slave in population working. No other country that most of the countries, like the European countries, they had the slaves like in Brazil, like Portugal, and the empire have most of the slaves in the Caribbean or wherever, and they bring whatever over the benefits and the spoils of whatever to their country. US, the slaves stay in US and build the United States, right? So everything stayed in there. So that's why United States is so powerful and so rich right now because of the role they play in slavery. I was the role that slavery play. Go on, brother Danny.
And as I was saying that they benefited the longest too, because even after the abolition of slavery, internationally, them still did practice it legally upon the continental USA.
Yes. And to add to that, Bingy, you come in? Okay. And to add to that now, remember the US benefited from free labor, free labor. For almost 300 years of free labor. That's a massive head start, on almost every nation in the world.
Every country.
Every country have a
No
big
other country at that. No other country at that.
at that kind of advantage in their history.
Yeah.
So America is one of the major beneficiary of the enslavement of African people and should be the one who pay, should not hesitate to compensate and to try to repair the harm that they have done to African people. They should be at the forefront pushing for these type of things. And it's just sad and wicked that they would sit there and reject this because they don't want to be held accountable or responsible, as our brother Okovango said. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want to pay.
Are they given a valid no, well, not a valid. Are they given a reason for this? I didn't see it.
Yes, they did. The same reason they gave was the hierarchy of crime. Most of them repeated the same thing. They're saying that the ranking of suffering, like as if the US care about the suffering of other people. You know what I'm saying? It's rhetoric. They gave that argument, and they gave the argument of legal time travel. Like it was illegal at that time. It was legal at that time. So we can't go back and retroactive and make it illegal. So we must honor the laws of the criminals. So that's what they're trying to tell us.
That's crazy.
It's the same argument that the other countries has been using.
Bingy, are you know Bingy? Bingy still not here.
And also they brought
I think his thing I echo to you. I think much I listen on YouTube or so.
Also, they mentioned that it's unfair because the declaration does not mention the trans-Sahara enslavement of African people and trafficking. You know, see, but we have never the actual declaration didn't put no geography upon it. It says trafficking. So wherever African people was trafficking was a crime against humanity.
A grave crime.
And I mean, we're talking about America's past, but what about its present? Because from that time until this time, there's not a lot that has changed in their policy. It might have morphed into different shapes and different forms, but the fact of the matter is that their policy hasn't changed when it comes down to Africa and African people on the continent and in the diaspora and within the USA as a whole. As a matter of fact, schools in the United States are being mandated to stop teaching students about slavery, segregation, and racism, and American history courses that talks about Black history and talk about America in a negative light. And that is brought forth by the same president last year, as a matter of fact, that was mandated. So you can see there is a direct attack on African, not only on our identity, but also our history, also our culture, and also our traditions, because they are trying to wipe out that among their population.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. There's a catalog, man, a violation, right?
What on there? Bingy, jump out and jump in, Batman. Jump out. Yeah, you know, Bingy. Yeah, you know.
No. I'm here.
Okay, good.
It came back. Now I'm hearing you.
Yeah. Bingy, go in, long time I hear you.
Yeah, I wasn't hearing before, but it just kicked back on whatever happening. Listen, all goes on as before. These countries that oppose even recognizing slavery as an issue are the countries who, if they had the power right now, will bring back slavery, will bring back shackles and chains, without a doubt.
Well, Marco Rubio just said the other day, right?
Yes. He made that statement. That was the mistake. The mistake was to end slavery. That was the mistake for them. I don't know how we really move forward. These countries continue to benefit based on oppression, right? Their benefit is always based on oppressive behaviors. How do we move forward? And the key fact here is these people are the minority, you know. They're the minority. And this is what we have to understand. We, the oppressed, are the majority. When do we understand that we're the majority and we're the ones who really wield power? We do, if we know how to use it, if we know how to become to come together, if we move in solidarity. If we understand this, the oppressed on the earth is the majority, and if we band together with one consciousness, one understanding, one goal, one aim, one people, it is nothing to stop us. There's nothing to stop us, but there's a psychology that's working here. And the psychology work every time. Divide and conquer. How do you do that? A man neglects who he is. How does he do that? He loses his identity. So now he no longer is responsible for who he is inherently. So that's why when you look at Africans or minorities fighting against things that would be beneficial to them, their families, generations to come, you realize that this psychology, this simple psychology works time and time and time again. The house Negro effect never changes roots. It never changes, and that's what we have to fight against.
And to think, they want the majority to be binded by the laws of the minority.
Yes. It's the weirdest dynamic.
It's the weirdest dynamic. The vast majority of the human planet, the people on the planet, are told that the laws of the minority
is right.
Are the official laws, are the real international laws, that we are bounded by it. Such an insult.
And the worst thing about it, the laws that is oppressive against the minority.
To the majority. To the majority.
To the majority, right. It's oppressive.
Down-pressive. It is down-pressive.
That's a better word.
Down-pressive. True.
Down-pressive, man.
So hold on. I don't want the reason go son now, you know. And we leave out the third no voter, you know. Because we talk about two, but we don't talk about the final one, and it seems like the reasoning.
Hey, the one that should be more.
Who is the final one? I missed the first two.
So the first two was Argentina and the US, and now we have Israel. So with Israel, okay, with Israel, I'm gonna say I understand why they vote against.
And why is that? Why is that?
Me, I can tell you one. The reason why I think they vote against it is because they see the crime against Jewish people as the most heinous crime against human beings. You know what I mean? So I can understand why they vote that way, because that's what they want to push as. That's what they've been pushing as the crime, the most heinous crime that's ever been done against human beings. You know what I mean? But I think it's a bit selfish, because if you really look on things, anyone look on things and see all the crime that has been committed against human beings, it's not very hard to see that the enslavement of Africans is the most heinous crime, is the gravest crime against human beings. Even in the Holocaust that they claim that is the most heinous crime against human beings, where 12 million people died. 6 million was Jewish people, but 6 other million people died. So it wasn't just Jewish people that died. 12 million people died. You know what I mean? Other people were killed, including Africans in the 12 million, right?
So you have African Jews too.
No, I'm just talking
generally,
right?
But I'm saying
Africans, just like how they targeted Jews, they also targeted African people. They targeted a lot of people. And the number is 12 million. And they always seem like they want to forget about that it was 12 million and not just the 6 million Jews. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, so a lot of people lost their life in that. And talking about just Africa alone, different from slavery, the Congo, 15 million people. 15 million people. You know what I mean? Africans have so much like
trauma,
crimes against African people. Like, we can choose multiple crimes that is worse than the Holocaust. But now we're talking about the enslavement of African people, which was the worst of the
Of
verse.
all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
So
And
you
I
know
would
the
like,
next thing too, right? A next thing too, and this is something I was saying in your thing as well, because when they said Jews, right? A lot of time people don't want to include the fact that Africa, you have African people who are Jews as well. You get what I say? And who
Yeah.
suffered in the Holocaust as well.
yeah, I want to add that the first victims of the Nazi regime were the African people
Africans.
staying
All right.
in Nazi
Yes.
All
Germany
right.
at the time.
All
And
right.
it
Yeah.
was easily identifiable and
Mm-hmm.
easily eliminated. And the
Yes,
second one
right.
was the LGBT. They got rid of them
Yeah.
and then they went on down the list.
The
So
Mm-hmm.
elderly,
Yeah.
the special
infirm,
needs, special
yes.
needs people, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
those, you know what I mean?
So
Mm-hmm. So
it
So
was like
I want to examine the claim that they're making where they're saying the Holocaust was the worst atrocity in human history, right? So let's look on duration. How long did the Holocaust last?
4 years. 4
4
years.
years, right?
Yeah,
So
1941 to
this
1945.
all right, so this atrocity had a duration, a span of 4 years. How long did the transatlantic slave trade last?
at least 400 years.
at
They
least
said
400.
400
400
years.
years.
Yeah.
400 years.
Yeah.
So
And
so
the effects is everlasting.
Right. Right.
so four
4 years.
years, 4 years
6
versus
million people died
400
in four
years,
years.
right? So Okabongo gave us a number, 12 million deaths
No, no,
in
no,
the
no, no. Wait,
Holocaust.
hold on, hold on.
Mhm.
The Holocaust victims is only 6 million, not 12.
Jews,
Six
No,
6
Jews,
million
6 million
Jews,
Jews. 6
6
million
million
Jews.
Jews.
but
Yes.
Yes.
in
Yes.
total, 12 million.
Yes.
12 million, yeah.
Yeah,
In
because
total,
Africans
12
died.
million.
Because remember, your gas chambers was tested in Africa, you know.
Mhm. All
Them
right.
gas chambers were the design.
Was tested
Africans
in
died
Africa. Yes,
first
I.
In
Yes,
with
I.
Namibia.
those
Bingy,
very gas chambers.
remember,
Mhm.
they, it was what, in Namibia,
Yes.
Namibia,
Namibia,
right?
yes.
Mhm.
That's where
Mm-hmm.
they started the genocide, you know.
Yes, I.
Yes.
Yes, I.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
so so let's go forward to the comparison. Let's go forward to the comparison. So we're saying 12 million in the Holocaust. What's the number for the transatlantic slave trade?
It
12 to
ranges.
15 million
12 to
in the
15 million people
transatlantic. Atlantic.
were transported, right?
Right.
Not
12
Yeah.
to 15
transported.
million.
We're talking about deaths.
Well,
It all them dead. End up dead.
Well, I mean, they said it eventually affected over 29 million people.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was
Okay.
affected
So that's the
over
numbers,
the
right?
span
Right.
of
So that's the numbers. So all
the
Yeah.
right. Let's look on recourse. Let's look on recourse. The Holocaust. Did the victims of the Holocaust
Mm.
gain any recourse
Yeah.
for this injustice?
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
they gained a recourse, right?
Yes.
Okabongo, you answer something?
Yeah, man, because they gain and they're still gaining because
Mm.
Okay.
the big thing, you know, what we can't look past with the Holocaust. Where we see the Europeans, they push it as the gravest crime, right? But it's really the gravest crime where white people were killing
We're
white people
victims. We're
because they couldn't
victims.
believe. Remember, they are so used to killing and
Black
murdering
people.
not just
Black
black
people.
people, anybody that's not
Oh,
European,
okay.
right? They were so used to indigenous people of the Americas, indigenous people of the Australia, of Africa, you know what I mean? In Asia. Those people were the people that they thought was worthy of, you know what I mean, of dying. But when it reached and there, those said no, it's like this is the worst thing ever for them. You know what I mean? And that's why they have it as this big crime, because white people died in that crime. Europeans died in that crime, right?
Right.
So, and that's the reason. That's the reason. There's no other reason why they want to see it as that. I want us to see it as that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes, sir.
So the Holocaust victims receive recourse for this atrocity. So let's
Absolutely.
go now to the transatlantic slave trade. Has there been any recourse to the victims of the transatlantic slave trade?
before we jump in on that response, there, see, me just want to highlight something about the 12 to 18 million people that historians said were transported through the Middle Passage.
Right.
Yeah. No, that figure does not include those people who died during the raids.
Right.
It does not include those who perished by holding the forts. It does not include those who died and forced marches to the coast. That's how bad the conditions were. Those who resisted and were killed, it does not include that figure. The families and communities shattered by the loss, it does not include those figures. The generations impacted by the destruction of societies, economies, and the culture. So when we speak of these things, as Pan-Africanists, we have to make these things clear to the people about the enormous catastrophe that happened. And even in today, this time, we are still suffering from those atrocities that started 500 years ago. And if you want to take it back to the Arabs, there is no difference. It's even worse because them used to castrate the males them.
And next thing, you know, when we say 12 to 18 million, no, you know, you say, oh, but, you know, I mean, 8 billion people on the earth. But remember, that was a very significant number then time then, because there, I don't remember the amount of people was on there, but around 1 billion people. So you taking out 12 million. It was a lot for the time. It was a lot for the time. So you're comparing this 6 million to that 12 million or 18 million, whatever it is. It's, you know what I mean? You have to put it the time it was happening in. For that time, it was a significant portion of the number of people was on the earth. Yes,
and based on the factors what you're gonna highlight now, it was exponentially greater. You see me? Because all these people will never make it to get on the ship. Them not count them. Them just count or make it on the ship. So the number actually exponentially greater than 12 to 18 million.
So even if you want to put it in a hierarchy, there's nothing compared.
So that's what I say now. So that's what I say. Recourse. A recourse we reach now, because we are doing our own analysis now, you know. So
one moment, I don't know if that figure include the breeding farms.
Right. I don't think so. I don't think so.
That number just includes those who came across the Atlantic.
Exactly. And then the subsequent generation that was
the generations to come.
Exactly. So I don't know how, if they calculated all of that, you know, but just to put that out there. Just to put that out there. There could be many more unaccounted for.
Oh yes. So
one final word on Israel before we leave Israel. We would have, it's ironic that people who have suffered like they have suffered
could vote against it.
Should be in solidarity with us who have suffered similar atrocities, and they have turned against other people who are suffering. It's very telling, you know, in this time.
Yes, sir.
You know, and to see, I mean, what we see, what they have done to the Palestinians, we're not surprised, because they can sit
not surprised.
30 million children and have no remorse about it, as if they're not human beings. But I did notice the irony of that the people that you expect to be in solidarity with you,
just like you said, Cambodia and Fiji
and Fuji. It was.
So I noticed it's like you guys skirting around the question, you know.
Which guys are talking about?
Which
guys are talking about?
The ones that are skirting.
Which guys are talking about? I don't know guys here now.
The ones that are skirting.
I don't know guys here.
The ones skirting, those are the ones I'm talking about. Did
talk to them.
African people receive a recourse to the transatlantic slave trade?
No,
Not a dime.
no. That's the short answer.
Whether monetary or civil or legal, no kind of recourse.
No, I must say that being involved in this movement, I have seen these are not official, these are just institutional arrangements being made by particular institution, because there's a wall of shame, of institution that participated directly either through financing, either through investment, insurance, and so forth in the enslavement of African people. I've taken some steps to offer trinkets, crumbs, to address some of the guilt that they feel towards their involvement, and that they are benefiting today from the enslavement of our people. There's a group in the UK here called themselves Heroes of Slavery. I think they have given Barbados some little disrespectful amount of. I don't know why Barbados even participate in that nonsense. And also I know that the University of Glasgow. And this is for the record, for we speaking and Rasdada Arcs. So these are not formal reparative justice, but these are just measures by private institutions who's trying to make amends. In America, some of the universities has gone to their records and they have saw where they have a lot of the endowments that build those universities came from money from enslaved people.
So when we do a comparison of that nature in terms of numbers, duration, and recourse, we can see that.
Yeah, I mean, in that context,
You've got nothing.
No relevancy.
There's no comparison.
It doesn't go far enough.
There's no relevancy. Only in the thing that you accept, there's any effort, if there's any things being done, any recourse. There are some that are trying to maneuver, but those who are engaged in the struggle know that these are just,
a drop in the bucket.
Drop in the bucket.
So
it cannot deter us from our ultimate goal of reparative justice and a global settlement.
So now,
we'll on that. Oh, okay. Go on. I was just going to say.
Stepmaster raised a valid point in the comment section. I want to big up Stepmaster to talk about something else that rose out of this assembly, the UN Assembly. And that is that Ghana, who we identified as the leading party in the presentation of this particular resolution, signed a military defense deal with the EU that happens to be those members who decided to abstain from the vote, right? Towards it says on March 24, 2026, Ghana became the first African nation to sign a formal security and defense partnership with the European Union, a landmark deal designated to boost cooperation on counterterrorism, intelligence sharing, and cybersecurity. The agreement was signed in Accra by Ghana's Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku Apamiyang, and EU High Representative Keja Callas. So, what are the views on that?
I don't even know everything about that, because right now Europe can't even defend themselves. So I don't know how they're gonna defend Ghana. I don't know. I don't really understand that.
So probably it's less about the defense and more about the intelligence gathering.
Well, maybe.
But that shouldn't be a surprise, right? These African countries, on no circumstances, are functioning without European intervention. They're all functioning with European participation. So this is not no surprise, even though it seemed like, hey, why would you be doing business with people who voting against your interests, guess what? These same
Or not
people,
voting.
yeah, or
Not.
not voting, voting
They're
or
not
not
voting.
voting. These people are the ones who've been behind your financial systems for as long as you've been
as we
the
know.
so-called independent countries or non-independent countries. So this is not a surprise thing. This is not nothing like, hey, whoa, they're doing business. No, this is what goes on and this is what needs to stop. This is the whole point. This is what we need to stop. Why are you depending on other people for your economic well being and your defense? You need to develop your economics with it, in your own continent and develop your defense systems so that you could defend yourself. This is the whole point. All we've been getting, all African people been getting is tokens. Tokens. Give them a token here, they'll quiet. Give them a token here, blow it up, make a story. We ain't getting nothing. Nothing. Every day we go into the table and we getting crumbs. Every day we at the same table, but you watching the man eat big meals and you waiting on crumbs. That's the problem. That
Yes,
is
sir.
what we need to resolve by.
Want to big up all the viewers that joined on the chat class today. Big up all the viewers. Like the video, share the video. We see 13 people watching. Like it, no man. Like the video. I want 3 likes. Like the video so more people can see what's going on. I mean, and leave a comment and join the discussion. Join the discussion.
Yes,
Today we are talking about the recent UN resolution to recognize the enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. You know what I mean? Long overdue. Join the discussion, man, and like the video and share the video. Give thanks. Go on, Dada. Oh, wait, brother, go.
Yeah,
Go on.
I just wanted to comment about this. What we see these governments and these neo-colonial governments, because I have come to terms with the contradictions. We have to live with certain contradictions.
Mhm.
I think certain contradictions is now inherent in our struggle, and we can't avoid them. We just have to maneuver and deal with them, because you will find the same government will talk about them a build homes, and the same government talk about Cuba have to leave. You will see the same government talk reparation and allow America for bringing them troops in. So these are the contradictions that we constantly see. But
Yeah.
because of our vulnerability, it is almost impossible to avoid certain
True.
contradiction or even
True.
perception of contradictions. So
True.
we just have to be mindful of that. That we're not in that position where we can take these hard stance and stick to it. Some of the stance that we take to it can cause our people great pain and great hunger.
Fire, what I'll say is this, right? That you see, one of the primary reasons why we see things like that is because we don't see the effects of the Maangamizi as one. We try to say, oh, this effect is because of this, and that effect is because of that, and that
Yes.
effect is because of that. So because we view them as from different origins, when we're dealing with things, we try to separate them now. And we have to get to a point where we realize that the predominant condition that we are in as a people is primarily traced to the psychological, emotional, physical, you name it, effect, direct effect of the Maangamizi. You understand? And until we can come to that agreement, then we will always have these problems. Because some people over here will want to say, oh, well, we didn't go through that, so this doesn't affect us. Or, well, we didn't go through this, so that doesn't affect us. You understand? And we have to get past that. So that's why you find that we see these things happening, that members of the diaspora, members of the African community are looking at things from a individualistic, if we can use that term, point of view, as opposed to a collective point of view. And we have to get to that point where we see things from a collective point of view.
And it
What
is the
affects
only
one
way.
affects all.
It's the only way we can stand up to imperialism is collectively.
Mm-hmm.
And
solidarity.
a while ago, you know, we are talking
off.
about we are compare like the amount of numbers, the numbers who died and you know what I mean, who live or whatever, with Israel, right? But we are talking about the enslavement of African people, and it's not just who the effects was not about just who died. You know what I mean? Remember when they took out mostly men, you know. So you have we end up having a disparity between men and women on the continent, you know, in numbers, you know. The amount of communities that was destroyed, you know, the amount of civilization that was destroyed, you know what I mean? And we are feeling the effects of those things now. A lot of things was destroyed because of, you know what I mean, which kind of hinder the progression of African people, you know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And we can see it now, the effects now, you know what I mean? And then they were taken to this side to, you know what I mean, go under the Brother Delany call it indentured servant, to become indentured servants. See Brother Delany? In them
we said again, which one?
You have one name we always call it where them carry over here become, you know what I mean, and them plantations become we always say again?
Apprentice.
No man, none of that. We know where I talk about.
Indentured servant?
No man, none of
no,
that.
Man.
Like, it's like a name where you refer to the slave trade or the plantation. You have a name where you always call it.
The concentration camp.
Concentration camp, man.
Yes.
That's the right. Them concentration camp, man.
The forced labor camp. Concentration forced labor camp.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I. And that's why them care will come. And you see the effect we also have on African people again, where they are so brainwashed that we don't even know ourselves. You know what I mean? We don't even know ourselves, and now we are trying to find back ourselves. You know what I mean? 100 years after them say we're free, we still can't find we way back home. You know what I mean? Mentally. You understand? So the effects are long lasting, and that is the enslavement of African people. So it's very wide and vast, the effects of this brutality. You know what I mean? Of this atrocity. You know what I mean? So it's not just who died, you know what I
mean?
Seeing.
Dada.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think when we see governments in Africa an agreement with these countries, we have to ask what is preventing them from having agreements and deals with countries that align with their national interests within Africa and within the UN. Just like how we see some Western countries do it. If you're not aligning with their interests, there is no reason, there is no need for us to have an agreement with you. They're more likely to sanction you and blackball you using the IMF and the World Bank to prevent you from accessing the financial system and getting a preferential price for your resources. So this further calls for unity within the Africa Free Trade Market and within the continent so that we can stand firmly on principle that benefit the African people and not only those of the enemy, because they are the enemy if they are not standing with us. And that's how they see countries that does not stand with them. They see them as the enemy and a threat. So that is how we have to view them and deal with them in exactly that manner so that we are not reliable and we are not dependent on their economies. We are not dependent on trade with them so they can sanction and suffocate us. We have to move away from that.
Yes, sir. But next thing I'm more of a highlight to, you know, right? And next thing I'm more of a highlight with this agreement. See? So one of the primary, according to the information coming out, right? One of the primary areas of concern with this security deal, with the not the resolution, the security deal between Ghana and the EU, right, is counterterrorism. right? Counterterrorism. So my concern with it is this. These quote unquote terrorists, right, are primarily opposed to these European, Caucasian entities, right? That's their struggle, right?
Right.
So when you now sign these deals with these European, Caucasian entities, it also now makes you a target. So this is why we see now why there's so much terrorist activity in these countries because of their affiliation to these people. So if we can't sit through the fact that the reason why we are dealing, if we're trying to eliminate terrorism in our countries, then we have to understand, so one of the primary reasons why we are dealing with this is because of the affiliations that we're making, and stop making those affiliations. So
Right.
we have to get to the point there.
We
Right.
always have a point, Dada.
Brother Delano was saying something.
Yeah.
We always have a point in the reasoning where we say follow the money. And we want to look at who is funding, supporting, and training these terrorists. So that's a clue there for you.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to say, I listened to what you said, Teacher Mayat, and about why we can't just see, like how we see it so clear, and the youth them see it so clear. Why we can't just do it? We are caught up in a paradigm where the system is rigged already, and we're in it. We're in a system that is, the foundation is fraudulent. And we are forced to maneuver and play a fraudulent game and try to win. And it's been rigged against us. But the key to that, the only hope we have of succeeding in the system is if we can unite. And I used to see unity as abstract, but it's only, I'm beginning now to see unity in its real context.
Real
Because the
thing.
Sahel state shows us, the alliance in West Africa between Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso. When you unite, you have a better chance of standing up to the system, to be able to move and don't have to worry about they attacking one, they attacking all. They sanction one, they're sanctioning all, and we can rely on each other. These are the steps that we have to take to be able to ease away from the system. You see, and you said follow the money as well. The little security agreement between Ghana and the EU are 50 million euro, peanuts,
Yeah.
You see, these them little trinkets that what we selling ourselves out for is true.
15 million can't do nothing for fight terrorism.
50 million, them say.
50 million can't do nothing for fight terrorism.
That's 2 bombs we drop on Iran, what they are.
Right. You see it. Exactly.
2 bombs.
All right. Sir, more of it say something before we pass that reasoning to Brother Delano, to what did I say about unity a while ago, saying, and it being sometimes being an abstract concept in the minds of the people, because people have this ideology that unity means that we're gonna be consolidated on every aspect of our
unisons.
Right.
And that's not it. It is consolidation on a particular view at a particular time
and practice.
That is what we have to deal with. We're gonna agree on this item at this time. You understand? And we're gonna all do that. And that is how we have to view the thing, my lord. Even if we disagree about these
certain
things,
we
have to know that when it comes to certain things, whatever we say,
we're the same page.
Yes, sir.
Yes, man.
The struggle when the Europeans was identifying Africa as somewhere them where they should just go and take what they want. And I mean they say all of Africa is the same. They didn't differentiate between people or
Right.
countries. And I mean they
No,
just see it's Africa and it's ours to take whatever. So when we try to find our way out of the struggle, we have that in common. But them see all of us as less than. So we can
Right.
under that man we can come together and say, hey, we're gonna rise above because together. You know what I mean?
And the financial system now, look how them have us dependent on their financial system for capital or for funding to fund our development. I
yes,
mean,
I.
remember, this is how the game is stuck, They have reaped so much in the last 500 years. The vast majority of the industrial gain was gained by the Europeans. And they have
Absolutely.
amassed trillions of dollars, up to $150 trillion in wealth they have amassed. And now for us as African people to progress, we are forced to go to them, to beg them to come and invest in our development, and they will be the main beneficiary of our development if we don't be careful. So what we
Brother
say,
Dulani, they
yes, sir,
always the main beneficiary, right? Because
always,
that
because
that
all money,
development was based on extractions from Africa, African
exactly,
people, their resources. So they always the main beneficiary.
always, and and and
Always.
and, and we have to realize that, and we have to create our own alternative financial system where we have confidence in the value of our own currency. We don't have to rely on their currency. They cannot be the one who dictate. The criminals cannot dictate the laws. They cannot be the one who write the laws.
Mm-hmm.
And for
Mm-hmm.
so long, this criminal enterprise has continued to write the laws for the rest of the world. And we have to break away from that. And that is what African leaders have with integrity and strength, have to sit down and work behind the scene and create this alternative world for African people. Because if not, we're going to be vulnerable. And all future development will be funded by the West or outsiders, and they will be the beneficiary. The benefit that we get would only be residual. It would only be the byproduct of the exploitation.
Yes, I.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we tend
But
to
that's
get.
always been the case. That's always been the case.
The
That's the
Black Prince,
problem.
That's why we always fighting for scarce benefits and spoils.
Spoils.
the
You
Black
understand? That's
Prince
why we
is
always
there.
fighting for scarce benefits and spoils.
Yes,
The
sir.
Black Print is there. We can see it in the Sahel states where they are taking control of their sovereignty, taking control of their resources, and they are adding value to the resources that they are producing in the country so that the
Right.
people can benefit from the resources. So that is the model that African leaders need to look at and support the brother Traore and the Sahel states in their push for sovereignty and independence from the slave masters, because we cannot continue with the same practices that are not equitable and that are not benefiting the people of the continent, but keep plundering, keep creating the problem and trying to find a solution. So they fund the terrorists and then they want to come and be the person who solved this problem. And we see that when they come in and the terrorists are there, terrorism does not reduce. As a matter of fact, it gets worse under their leadership and under their support, as we can see with the French in the Sahel states.
Yes, sir.
Funny enough, Dada, it come like say the terrorists them get excited when them hear say the foreign forces them up on the ground,
In fire,
Money
fire.
run,
All right.
money I go run, money I go run.
Look at the Iran. Look at the Iran situation. What draw a scenario from the Iran situation, right? Iran have this conflict with Israel and the United States. They are unable to make direct strikes on the continental US, right? So what do? They strike areas that are affiliated to the US in which they are in range of, right?
In the region.
So when a Ghana makes a deal with the EU for these type of things, and then these people come in, the terrorists go get excited because now them can make a direct strike. You understand? Now them can make a direct strike.
Yes. Yes.
You
Dada,
understand? So
Dada,
yes, I.
we have a comment.
Mm.
Look into that one of them for a little bit. And if you want to touch it.
Which one is this?
But,
Go
but,
read it
but,
now.
but
The,
that comment,
the last one.
Okavango. See that comment there. That comment is a very it's a long time narrative being pushed by those who want to avoid
Who want to
accountability.
highlight it? I just want to pass it.
The one at the bottom, the man. It says, will the African states then pay each other compensation? And just for the record, though these African states never existed then. And the vast majority of those African kingdoms that participated in the enslavement of African people were also demolished and also enslaved. So they were not beneficiary. They no longer exist. They were obliterated.
Mm-hmm.
And we responded to this. We responded to this the other day to Brother Dulani.
A lot of time with big man, but
our response was right. Our response was currently we are challenging the European cause and effect or the European benefits of the transatlantic slave trade. And once we come to a complete and full resolution to that matter, then we can investigate any other matters in the future. But currently, the resolution we are dealing with is the European Caucasian impact on the transatlantic slave trade, and that's what we're dealing with right now.
And I would add to that, Natty, as a reparation activist, and we are creating, thoughts on reparation and methods for reparation. We see reparation as a two-edged sword. It's internal repair and also external repair. External repair is all those repair that's owed to us by those who damage us from without. Our internal repair is our responsibility. We will deal with that. The African people around the world, we have to come together to help in our own healing, our own internal healing. And some of that healing will require integration, land,
yes, sir.
repatriation, all those things.
Yes, sir.
Citizenship.
The five pillars.
Yes, so these are things that we as an African family come together internally and we have to deal with, because that is also on the table. Because if you read any other literature coming out of the Pan-African reparation movement, it have always speak about the integration, the reculturalization, the re-Africanization of our people, dealing with reparative justice, and also the reparative element within our school system, repairing our culture, our language, our identity. These are internal works that we have to do with our brothers on the continent, because they were also affected. They were also brutalized and colonized on the continent, and they lost a lot in the process. So we're not here to try to apportion blame to the victims of the enslavement of our people.
Yes, sir.
Most of the people and the governments that exist today were not involved in the enslavement of African people.
So to that commenter, I can't pronounce the name. To that commenter, no country, no state, no kingdom in Africa benefited from the enslavement of Africans. All of them suffered. You know what I mean? Somewhere or the other, they suffered. You know what I mean?
Even the one that collaborated with the Europeans.
Yes.
Every last one of them.
They end up suffering. You know what I mean? So
end up on the ship as well. Yes, I.
And you can see, if you look into it, commenter, you can see it. Everybody suffered. You know what I mean? And we can see who benefited from it. You know what I mean? It's not very hard. You know what I mean? A little research can show that.
Are European nations and Western countries, North America, Canada,
and that's why the resolution is for them to pay recourse because of their benefit. So
Exactly.
once we resolve that, once we come to a resolution for that, then we can resolve any other thing that we want to resolve. But this is the thing on the table at the
Because
moment.
when them figures, them figures say when the man them catch the man them and carry them go sleep, there's only two of them.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And let's say we can
It's a 2 for 1.
we can segue into some of the studies that's been done about the benefits, who
Right.
benefited. There's a group in Europe called the Brettle group. You can type it in a Google or AI, the Brettle, Brattle. They have done a study of how much is owed to African people globally.
Mhm.
It is estimated that $100 trillion is owed to African people for the damage that was done to them. It says Britain alone owes.
And that's a liberal estimation.
Liberal,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'm
That's a
getting
liberal
to that.
estimation.
Yeah, and Britain alone owes around $24 trillion for the benefit and the damages that they have done,
They received.
that they have received.
And Brother Dulani, I would say those numbers, right? Those are artificial numbers. You really can't pay African for the
Yes, sir.
atrocities they went
Yeah,
through,
man.
right?
No.
But through this reparation that we call for, you could start making amends, right?
Amends,
And for the
right.
people,
It's a
for the
start.
commenter who say, will the African states then pay each other compensation? That person has no idea what was happening during slavery.
Mhm.
Whether these tribes are going to fight against each other, bringing them to the port, guess what? Those people too also enslaved. The
Yes.
Yep.
people, they trick them. So there's trickery going on. So nobody in Africa ever benefited from the slave trade. So
But
for that person who's talking about, hey, Africans went and capture African, you need to do more homework. Because
that's
then you will
correct.
see even those Africans who are also enslaved. They never benefit. The reason why we are here is we are continually going through the same thing. We have seen no amends. We have seen no improvements. African people are still the people who suffer everywhere they go on this earth. They're
A
still the
universal struggle.
minority of the minorities. Yet, we are the biggest contributors to civilization. Without apology, whether it's the monetary systems, whether it's archaeology, whether it's astronomy, we African people are the biggest contributors to human development
That's
today,
correct.
yesterday, and in the future. Yet we still sit here talking about reparations. So the injustice continues, and that's what we're going to continue fighting against. So when we
So,
see these distractors, because these are who these people are, they know they have not done their homework, but yet you
right.
come here to comment about will Africans pay Africans?
And the states them in
Well, I
Africa,
don't
I
just
don't
want
know that
people
about
set it
60
like that,
years old.
Bingy. I want us to understand that that is also an effect of the Mangamese too.
Yes.
That is,
Yes.
and they are
The
victims of that
miseducation.
too.
Yes. There's a
So,
miseducation.
we have to appreciate that as well.
Yeah, because many people don't realize that matter of fact, the vast majority of African states today are only about 62, 65 year old. They just was born just the other day. They're not
Just the other day.
nation that been around for 100 or 200 years. They've just been born. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so many of them not aware of that. That single data point alone, they're not aware of that.
You
So that's
know,
why
we,
that's
we
why they make
constantly
this irresponsible statement, because they're not aware of the history.
we constantly have to reject those kind of statements because we know it all comes up from time to time. And I must admit, my frame of mind was there at one point because I didn't overs the history and I didn't overs what actually took place and how those claims were came about. But now since we understand and overs what is going on and understand we now reject those arguments. We reject those claims when they talk about who is the compensation gonna go to because those slaves are not around anymore. We're not only talking about compensation. We're talking about reparative justice. We're talking about a full formal apology, which they've refused to make on a number of occasions.
Time and time again.
We're talking about measures of restitution. We're talking about compensation, rehabilitation, satisfaction, guarantees of non-repetition so that these things don't happen again. And if we look at the present war that is going on, the US-Israel war that is going on now, those are the things that Iran is fighting for to make sure that this does not happen again, because these things keep happening over and over again because of the vestiges that is still existing today in the form of neocolonialism. So we are asking for the people to stop, come into the trad class or anywhere at all and comment about these things, but go and learn your research and understand what you're talking about so that you have the fullness of how those things happen and why did those things happen. Just imagine you're in your home as a man or a woman and someone come inside and take your partner and do what they want to do with your partner in front of you. And they do the same thing with the children. They do the same thing with the boys. They do the same thing with the girls. What would you do? Tell me, what would you do? So we don't want people to mix up the thing and think we're only referring to money. We want to address the systemic discrimination and racism that exists as a result of those things that took place 400 or 500 years ago.
Justice is justice is what we want. We want justice. Justice is what we want. You know what I mean? And the monetary part is a part of the justice. You know what I mean? I mean, some people are talking about you want a handout. You work for 400 years without pay. I don't think asking for payment would be a handout. It's a handout. 400 years of labor, free labor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now you say you want something from that. Is a handout. That couldn't be a handout.
Even on that point, we're not even asking for that. We actually asking to be left alone so we can develop as sovereign countries, as sovereign nations, without interference. That's what we asking for. No interference. We're not asking for handouts. We asking, why don't you leave Africans alone?
But
asking for what's rightfully yours is not handout.
Why?
Another thing too is the fact that the people who benefited from the transatlantic slave trade are still benefiting today, or their descendants are still benefiting today. So if they're still benefiting from this injustice, why should the victims of this injustice not get recourse for that injustice?
And may I add, the people who suffered on the hands of those people who are benefiting are still suffering today.
Yes, okay.
And again, Africans, no matter where we are, when we minding our business, the man comes, the usurper comes. We in Africa would develop. We have lived through ages before the Europeans came and invaded on our own, living on our own economic systems, our own ways of life, without bother to anybody. Again, even if we are not talking about economic value or monetary value to what we have gone through, what we are saying is we want to be able to develop on our own merits. We want no outside interference. We want to be in control of our own resources, dictate what we do, be recognized as true sovereigns. That's what we really want. No interference. That's better than anything else you could think about, when they talk about monetary value to the slave trade. There is no monetary value. There's no amount of money that could
That should pay
satisfy
for
the
it. Yes,
injustice
sir. Yes,
that
sir.
has been done. What
Yes, sir.
we really asking for is total independence, sovereignty, control of our own resources, our
Mhm.
own path. That is what we
And the
asking for.
opportunity to
Yes,
develop.
we
And
we
the
not we not
opportunity to
asking
develop.
for nothing else.
Yes, I. Big up the viewers and subscribers who join us this morning. Keep liking the video. We have sometime up to 20 odd people are watch, and we still only have like what 10 likes. Like up the video, please, so more people can see what go on. As we said, today we are talking about the recent UN resolution to recognize the enslavement of Africans as the gravest crime against humanity. I mean, that's the discussion this morning. So leave a comment if you have something to say to. Yes, I.
And imagine the fear of these developed countries because they have been developing and their development has been based on Africa and solely Africa. Their fears, if they leave Africa alone, what Africa will become, what will she become? Knowing all that she has and the
Yes, sir.
potential that she has and her historical significance
Yes, sir.
throughout throughout humanity. And that is their fear. Their fear is how could we leave them in all this, which they have been born naturally to, which they're
Mhm.
inherent to. How could
Yes,
we
sir.
leave them in all this? They
True.
have this advantage, and that is their fear. What will Africans become if we do?
True.
And we see
Yes,
these
sir.
countries who benefited from slavery or the enslavement of Africans, right? And they have the rhetoric like they want to see country develop, they want to see better for other
Right.
countries. And I mean, and they have this thing that they help in countries. But still yet, if we see a country, whenever we see a country developing in a way or a country rising above themselves and try to have their own sovereignty, try to develop their country. We see these countries oppose those
Mhm,
countries. You know what I mean?
mhm.
Look at a country like a China then. You know what I mean? We see a rise up and is total opposition. A country like even Iran. You know what I mean? We develop themselves in such a way, in the way how they want. And oppose any country but them see a develop in a way them have a problem with that country. So we see that they don't really want
No,
people to develop. They want
Mm.
them to be at the top and everyone at the bottom. That's how they see things.
Because
because development means a threat to
that's the
the economic
structure of the
system.
system. That's
Yes,
the
I.
structure of the
Hey,
system.
Yes, I.
I see a comment somebody make say I'm not white, but this is
That's
pathetic.
what we were just talking about, Brother Dulan.
Yeah.
It's insidious. You see, these are some of the insidious comments that people make
Right,
when
right.
they're miseducated. Imagine now you lick my car and I tell you to repair my car. You tell me see me I look handout. You damage
Mhm,
my car.
mhm,
You know see it. You damage my property. You damage me. Imagine
mhm.
you lick me in my eye and me tell you, say, listen, man, you have to pay my medical bill, you know. I have to go to prison. You tell me, say, boy, man, I look handout to you for your
Mhm.
damage and harm you have done to me.
Mm-hmm.
Eh?
Crazy, man.
It's crazy
It's
logic.
crazy.
The
Crazy
logic is
thinking.
staggering. But you
Mhm.
see, because some people don't value their humanity, and you do anything to any of these white nations, and they're demanding immediate reparation.
Yes, sir.
It's a
Mhm.
part of
Yes,
the it's
sir.
a part of the
Hey,
Western
hold on there. And
European
you
propaganda.
don't necessarily even have to do anything.
Yes. Just
You
make them
don't even
feel
necessarily
away.
have to do anything. If they just think.
Yeah, if they just
If they
think
just
that you're threatening
think.
them, you have to pay. You have to pay. Because I'm suffering. Just if I feel like I'm suffering, I have
And
any
these,
ailment psychologically, you have to
yeah.
pay for that.
And these people are emboldened by people like from Africans like Kimi Badenoch. You know what I mean? Who come out and join them by fighting
They are
against
slavery supporters. They are
slavery
supporters of
supporters.
slavery.
Yes, I slavery
And
supporters. That's the name for
hear
them.
what I'm saying? They must say the billionaire. There's not a ton load of billionaire in Africa. And
No.
these billionaires came from poverty. And lucky they got lucky along the way. So this idea that these billionaires are in here, Dangote is not no descendants or no enslavers. These people are poverty-ridden people that risen and got lucky along the way. It's
Yeah.
Hold on, brother Delani. Hold on,
But
brother Delani. When we talk about this, right? So let me say this. Let me say this, right? The system, systematically, it is created for you to have examples of what they're
Yes,
talking about.
that's
So the
correct.
system
The
says
chosen
you
few.
can be whatever you want to be as long as
Yes.
you put in your hard work and you do this. You can be the richest
Yes.
person on the planet. In order
Yes.
for people to believe that, the
Right.
system has to facilitate examples of that. So
Yes.
I can now say, then look at this person, or
Yes.
look at that person, or look at that person.
You see it in
That's how
America
the
a lot.
system
In
is.
America is a
Yes.
lot of that
Yeah.
example
They
today.
love
they
find
are
it.
fitting into the narrative.
Yes.
They are fitting into the narrative that they want to push. And in the age of AI, we're going to see a lot of disinformation and a lot of fake news, even more than before. And people are even going to be further confused and peddling and pushing these propaganda narrative that they want them to push about Black people and
That's true.
African
That's
or
true.
African descendants.
That's true.
That's why I made the point that they need to understand and overstand and understand the historical context of why they made that point to say that yes, they were slave catchers and people were catching slaves. What was the reason for them to do that? They need to understand that. And Professor Bickles, is it Hilary Bickles from the
Hillary
university?
Beckles. Yes, Hillary
He
Beckles.
made the point succinctly and very clearly that if you are in your home, you have a family, and the family, let's say, we break the man and the wife and the daughter is watching that and the son is watching that. So the mom is now gonna teach her daughter and teach her son that, listen, this is exactly what you're not supposed to do because the same thing will happen to you. And this has been passed on, and a lot of people and a lot of us, because I was in that state of mind or that frame mind when I didn't overs the history of how these things came into being. But when I start doing my own research and I look at all these terms and all these claim about, I no longer think like that. And I no longer peddle those garbage because it is utter garbage.
I want to add to that, Natty, by saying that we will not run away from any truth and reality of our history. We
No.
know
Yes,
that
I.
they were collaborators. We know they were accomplices. And we condemn them then and we condemn them now.
No.
But they're still amongst us today. So we are under no illusion. There are some that may be around today who have had some kind of legacy from that time, and we are not going to be naive to that. But we're not going to be distracted by those type of detractors and diversionary tactics. The
That's
vast
why I
majority of our
said.
people,
That's why I
99% of
said.
our people,
Make him done
did
that.
not benefit from the enslavement of our people. The
Mhm.
primary
That's why I said, no,
beneficiary
brother Dulani.
have been
That's why I
European
said
under
the
the American
resolution now.
nation.
That's why I said the resolution now is the European influence on this matter. And that is what we're dealing with now. We can't deal with everything at the same time. We
Yeah.
cannot deal with everything at the same time. So right now, in this moment, this is what we're dealing with. So let's resolve this. And
Yes,
when we
I.
resolve this, we can resolve anything else.
Yes.
The love is the tactics of finding the anomaly in the bunch. You know what I mean? Oh, African
Yes.
have billionaire, African have 1 billionaire. So
Yeah.
there is no billionaire in Africa for the very few billionaires in Africa. There is no billionaire who make their wealth because of some history of slavery. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You mentioned Dangote. They just got lucky because
Cement.
oil is the world currency.
Right.
That's what the world economy run off oil, right?
But guess what?
And fortunately, oil was found in Nigeria, so somebody's gonna get rich off it.
But Dangote became rich before the island because it was cement. He used to supply
Cement. True.
cement to different companies in
True.
Nigeria. He used to buy the cement from foreign sources, and him start to make the cement himself in Africa.
All right.
He started to make the cement and replace the and start from becoming a middleman to become the major provider of cement. And the rest is
That is what we want to see. That is what we want to see on the continent, where we are adding value to the
yes.
resources. So if we're mining gold, we're gonna make the jewelry, we're gonna make the chains, we're gonna make the ring. We're mining diamond, we're gonna cut the diamond and manufacture it ourselves. And we've seen a case where I show speed, I light that you have to go to certain companies if you want to purchase a little diamond.
Yes.
Yeah. So we want to see these things
yes.
happening on the continent, the people benefiting from the resources. For too long, we have been being consumers of our own resources and paying for it at a higher price. That cannot continue any longer.
The iron, the steel, because you know, say, they make a deal with Nigeria recently to invest $446 million in building 2 ports. And the steel that will be used to build that port will be British steel. 240, I think $223 million pound out of that deal will go towards British steel to supply steel to Nigeria.
Terrible.
Why we cannot make our own steel in Nigeria?
Within the continent, brother. Within the continent.
Yeah. If Nigeria doesn't have it, why is that coming from Africa?
These are classic examples of how we need to take control of our value chain, our own supply chain. We have the raw material.
Yes.
We build the factories, we build the refineries, and we do it. Dangote now has been the first one to build a refinery in Africa.
Yeah.
So Dangote is an example for how Africa should operate, because the main problem with Africa right now is too much raw material coming out of Africa, propping up other economies over the world. You know what I mean? Because it's not just the Europeans alone. We see the Haitians that are coming in, the Americans are coming in. Yes. Too much raw material is coming out of Africa, and we need to put a stop to that.
And I hear
that's a good example.
A few countries now are making some talk that they will be putting, there's some breaks will be putting in place from the export of the raw material. I hear Zimbabwe speaking very loudly. I hear even
big up Zimbabwe
is speaking up, saying that we're going to start scaling down this exporting of our material and move towards processing of our own material. So that is a trend now developing, particularly since the madman came to power in the administration in America, and the way he's talking, they decide to listen. If you attack that way, you attack grimy, we need to start move grimy too.
Grimy too, yeah, man. Senegal have some announcement too.
So you see, all these announcements is taking place where African countries and African leaders now are deciding to listen, man, we can take control of our own processing. We can add value. If you look at the lithium in Zimbabwe, the raw material on which lithium is taken from Zimbabwe is exported. And when it returns to Zimbabwe, then they mark it up by over 7,400% and sell it back to
a refined product. Right?
The refined product come back at a major markup to the people.
Yes, sir.
It's criminal.
Yeah, what we need. Right now we need a shift in thinking, the way Africans think. And that is the problem, right? The way they're thinking right now. They have to think in a manner that's going to benefit Africa for generations to come. Sustainable thinking. How do we develop systems that are going to benefit the development of Africa and African people for generations to come? And I think the way we're going to get there is through the youths, right? The youths are going to become the most important people in this struggle. They are, because they're the ones who are going to have to pick up the torch eventually. How do we get them to pick up the torch? By educating them about themselves, who they are historically. One of the most amazing things is African people really don't know who they are historically, where they're coming from, the empires that they built, the systems that they built, their contributions to humanity. And that is supposed to give them this honest, this dignity, this pride of who they are supposed to be even within this time. Because time and time again, what we see them doing is subjugating themselves to the Europeans. The
Right.
European standard becoming their standard. European standard could never be our standard. We beyond that.
Right.
Yes,
We
absolutely.
beyond that. No European can come and give you a standard, brother.
And
Ever.
these are those are the elements of the reparative justice movement.
Yes.
It encompasses the repairing of the mind,
The
repairing of the
mind.
damage done to our culture,
Mm-hmm.
to our
Mm-hmm.
economy, to our education, to our family. It's a comprehensive, holistic approach.
Yes.
Have to repair it, and it has to be a commitment from the leadership. And unfortunately, many of our leaders were colonially trained. They
Mm-hmm.
were
Mm-hmm.
trained to continue the
Mm-hmm.
colonial system. So we're still in this phase of neocolonialism. We need
The
to move towards
reasoning,
an African mindset, an African sovereignty mindset. You know,
mm,
see, where
the
we
reasoning start off, the
implement.
reasoning
Go on.
started off to talking about distraction, right?
Right.
And I want us to realize that when we have a reasoning about reparation, one of the biggest distraction that come out of that reasoning is the money part of the
Very
reasoning.
bad.
Yes,
And the
I.
money part of the reasoning, the money part of the reasoning are the
Mm-hmm.
least
Yeah.
significant part of the reasoning.
Yeah.
Ah, my brother.
You see
Yeah.
me? The money part of the reasoning are the least significant part of the reasoning. It's repairing everything else
Else.
that's
Yes.
supposed to be the focus.
Absolutely.
That's the
Yes, I.
focus.
Because you see, those nations, most of our neo-colonial governments, we never even start to address this part of the struggle yet, the
Mm-mm.
repairing of the mind of our people.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And we're
That
still
is the key.
maintaining the curriculum from the colonial eras.
Yes,
We're
sir.
still
Yes, sir.
maintaining the same system, the same
Mm-hmm.
language,
Yes,
everything
sir.
that they
Yes,
gave to
sir.
us.
Yes, sir.
We
We
have to
still
start
maintain. Yeah,
overturning
man.
those things.
And some of the
Real
people them,
talk.
you have these people, them go around and them like, oh, handout and why should you get paid now? And listen, man, it's not even your money. You
Mhm.
won't lose a dollar.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
So
So
we
I
have
don't know
a
where you're
job for him
fighting
to do.
against some
So
people
we have
getting
a job
money.
for him to do, but we're not giving him money when it be done. We want him to come work for. We have some construction site in Jamaica. We want him to come put him on. And when you're done, we don't want you to come give me no hand. No church out, no hand give away. We don't
Let's
want to
go
see
Right.
no
work.
handout.
Let's
We want
go
to
work.
work you for free and send you home.
I
Yeah.
gonna
Just
work
give
to
them
the
a
standard. We have
just give
beat
a
you
full
too.
month, brother Dulani. Not even one year, just a full month.
Full month, yes. Much less 300 years. And talk about the handout you want it back. So you go and go tell the people them say, boy, me ask for handout. They ask me for what's due to me. And the man say me ask for handout. Go and feed
Handout.
the children with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
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 Pass
That's
that on to
true.
your children.
Real true.
It's
That
a
joke.
joke.
Yeah, man, it's a
That's true.
great energy, man. It's a great energy to
Yeah,
see
man.
that the majority of the people could actually vote. Even though
Yes.
I don't see, because Okabongo say we talk about human development all the time. And the fact that we have to bring a resolution of this kind to the United Nations Assembly for there to be a vote. And furthering the fact that so many people abstain from the vote. And the further fact that 3 members voted against the resolution is evidence that we
Mhm.
have not developed.
It speaks
Because
volume.
Yeah.
this
So
should not even be, there should not be a need for a resolution of this nature, because this is what they use a term self-evident.
It,
This
mhm.
is self-evident.
Self-evident.
it remind me of when they wanted to pass a
Ah,
law in America to make lynching illegal. And you know that there was a lot of it was never passed. It was resisted by the lawmakers in America.
Mhm.
Mhm. Of
Imagine
To
that.
course.
pass a law to outlaw lynching was
Mhm.
a
yeah.
was a
Hey,
them fight
hey,
for almost 200 years to get the law on the book.
I was waiting on this comment. So this commenter said none of us was enslaved. But I want to tell the commenter that is he or she is very wrong. Yes, I was enslaved, because my ancestor is me and I am my ancestor. You know what I mean? It's the same person. You know what I mean? So yes, I was enslaved 400 for 400 years. Yes, because I am my ancestor.
Exactly.
They wouldn't understand that. That's why over there, made Dr. Bongo.
We're almost coming to an end, and we must say this before we close, though, that contextually, we have to contextualize certain things. The UN as an institution, we have to contextualize it for the audience and for the record that we are under no expectation or illusion about the extent or the power of the United Nations, particularly in these times. It has been weakened, it has been defanged, and
has
the
been
power
compromised.
it's been compromised, and the power is actually in the Security Council. So the declaration and the resolution is largely symbolic, but
Symbolic.
it will have legal ramification for the future. So now we have room and maneuvering for the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Courts to be able to take languages from the UN Security Council now. I mean the UN declaration or resolution to kind of guide them in their operation. So they have language now, legal binding language that is on the books. However, in terms of implementation, there's also a 10-year plan of action, a decade of action, they call it, from 2026 to 2036, which would demand that member nation take steps to bring about reparative justice. So we're going to see within the next 10 years which country is going to take the initiatives, move towards establishing reparative justice for the damages done to African people. So that is one of the part of the resolution as well. So it is not a binding resolution or enforceable resolution because it was not through the
Security Council.
And also I must say that the Security Council is an undemocratic council. It's a council that we should reform. It should be restructured. I think Africa, if it's going to remain what it is, Africa need to have a permanent member or veto power in the UN Security Council, or it needs to be reformed completely and to become democratic. And the will of the majority of the nations of the world.
Permanent members.
Exactly, the will of the majority, no permanent members, are the will of the majority of the nations of the world should prevail on this planet. So we just need to put that out there that we that particular institution is a compromised institution. Right. But we do recognize and commend the move that has been made. So let's put that on the record.
It's a move in the right direction.
In the right direction, right. But there's a lot of work to be done.
Vasok says, how do I get one of my cousins on here to debate on Africa? So what I would say to you, Vasok, is just send us your email. Send us an email. And we'll reply to the email. We'll give you the information needed for the sign-in and everything. And you're more than welcome to be a part of the chat class, because the purpose of this is for all of us to reach our full potential through collective reasoning.
Or you can just follow on Instagram and drop us a DM, Dada.
Respectful debate.
And at welcome it as well. We can have a link in the chat. We can drop it and control it. The administrator can control who come in and who come out. You know.
Absolutely.
At some stage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but they would have to download the studio app before they come in. So we would like to just them to reach out either through Instagram or email. We make the connection, then we share the studio link with them so that they can download the app and join the virtual studio, because we're in a virtual studio from different places all over the world. So yeah, it's a kind of different platform, but it gets everybody in the same place so that we can stream using the software on YouTube.
Before we close, I want to just respond to that person say, we were not slave. You're right. We were not slave. We were Africans. And number two, those who inherit the wealth that was stolen from our ancestors, they shouldn't get that wealth either. That wealth should be taken from them. That's ill-gotten gains. So
But Lani, I also want to say to that person, if you sit to here today and you make that comment, you're the most enslaved mentally. You are the most mentally enslaved person to even make a comment like that. That is why we here. We here to wake you up, brother. That's why we here. The struggle continues.
Right.
And we know the struggles continue. So that's why we here. And we will never give up. We will never give up. But you are the most mentally enslaved person to even make a comment like that.
And he would expect those who have benefited from those 400 years of exploitation to continue to benefit from it. And no accountability.
The struggle continues, brother.
From our ancestors' work that they have put in. All that free labor should just go to these people today, even though they weren't alive then. They weren't alive, but they are benefiting from it today. So why should they benefit from it? And they were not around during that time. I was not on the plantation as the overseers, but they should benefit from all that accumulation of wealth. But we should not benefit. We should remain on this low level of existence.
Vibration low, man. The flames low. The flames low.
We don't want to get too hung up on semantics as we often do with terminologies that most of the terminologies that we're using are Eurocentric, but we're using those terminologies for this reason because that is what most people know. And
for communication purposes.
For communication purposes, if you are following the chat class for a very long time and you're a member of the chat class, you would have known that we've clarified these doubts and misconceptions all the time so that we are all clear on why we use certain language in the reasoning. But we overs and we understand the real history of Africa before colonialism. We understand the whole history of Arab colonization of Africa. We also overs the history when Africa had many great empires also. So we use these for communication purpose, and we don't want to get caught up on semantics and having back and forth with the viewers. The views are welcome, but we will challenge them if they are not within the Pan-African narrative. So it's not a disrespect to anyone. That is how we reason. We are not diplomats that tell lie or cherry coat things. We say it as it is and how we view it from the chat class.
Yeah, man.
And another thing I want to say as well too. We welcome opposing views.
Absolutely.
Because it's only when we explore opposing views that we can come to a realization of what the reality and the factual points are. You understand? So if somebody is of a different view to my view, I welcome that discussion. As long as Okavonga said, we can do it respectfully.
Yes,
and that is key. So if the I family or the I self want to be a part of the reasoning, you have to over that the fundamental requirement of being a part of the reasoning is respect. We're not gonna be throwing tantrums, we're not gonna be calling names, we're not gonna be threatening, we're not gonna be disrespecting each other. You understand? We're gonna have a reasoning where we can come to a consensus. You see it? And that is what the island of a know.
Yeah, man. It's the we call that ideas. All of us have our own ideas, and
yes,
everyone we welcome all the ideas. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So and that's we call it a debate. So we are debating
a discussion
ideas
on all the ideas.
But
right.
sometimes we have to teach, because Sometimes people don't understand how finance work and how collateral. You can have 200 enslaved African on your plantation, and you go to the bank and you take out a loan and you use them as collateral, and you go on and buy a big piece of land and you build a factory with that money, and that factory make you millions and billions. That money was originally from the enslaved people them that you have on your plantation, you know.
Yes, sir.
It was off their back, you know, that you was able to make that money. That's your primary investment. You know what I'm saying? So people don't understand that level. They think money stay in one place or value stay in one place. It transition into the future. Lloyds of London, Barclays, JP Morgan, all those great banks today got a lot of their funding from the enslavement of African people.
Them startup capital.
See the descendants of these atrocities. You see, there are people that they hold dear to their heart. They always praise them, and they have them make them heroes, and the companies that their companies they hold them dear and create innovations. They hold those things that was done by their ancestors dear to their heart. But when it comes to the bad now that the ancestors do, they don't want to hold on to it. You have to hold on to everything. Just like when you hold on to the one that you call great, you got to hold on to the murderers and the thieves. You understand?
But they want to focus on personal guilt, my brother. It's not about personal guilt. It's about corporate and state responsibility and accountability. Not personal guilt or individual guilt. Nobody's going after no individual. We're going after these corporations and these governments that are benefiting in the trillions of dollars from our ancestors. So no need to take it personal. I feel guilty.
And I'll use an example. I'll use a personal example of a Warren Buffett, right? A Warren Buffett, we've seen many times when we come out and make a statement that, you know what, I'm going to give away my wealth and start over.
Right.
Give away him wealth and start over. And by next year, I'm rich again. Right?
So I know he's starting over, right?
Well, I know. I use that as an example to say that these people were talking about if they pay reparations, the economic effect is going to have on their nations. I say that the framework for them to make money still exists even after they pay this reparation.
Right.
Yes,
so even if they pay the reparation by a couple months, them rich again.
But
understand?
The reality, there's a lot of good people holding bad money.
Yes,
and it's a matter of justice. You know, say the money you got and the wealth you have is ill-gotten gains. Straight up. You know?
Yeah, the word I was looking for when they was describing is a mogul. Mogul, M-O-G-U-L.
Yes.
If them give them all them money, you know, the root of where the money come from, you know, is still there. And them now give that, you know, them not gonna give away that.
No.
You know what I mean? They now give away the land. They now give away those things with them control.
I just wanna make one more clarification, Chad class. See? We just want the people, the viewers, to realize that the reasoning is not about the ordinary people of these states and these countries. It's about the systematic discrimination and subjugation of our people by their governments. And that is what is at the heart of our reasoning. So we don't want no one to take the reasoning personal because it is not leveled at them.
No.
Even though you might have descendants, victims, or descendants of the perpetrator.
We say that we have a wrap. It look like we're about to wrap up the reasoning.
The reasoning nice. Like we don't want to touch the whole day today.
But remember, I know for a go ball for a piece of fire, you know. We tell you say no, I go down today, you know.
One touch of things still before we try that.
See it again. Go through that.
Arabs and blacks run the black trade. What's your answer for that?
But tell
Vasak man, make him cousin or him or whoever in family. Link up the chat class and we continue next week because this now go done.
I just want to say that you know, we have to point out the financial institutions, the religious institutions, all of the industrial giants, them are moguls, rubber baron. We will point them out because they are the main beneficiaries.
Yes, sir.
And the governments,
Yes,
them
sir.
that are involved, who legalize the whole process, have to take responsibility. Hear them say
Yes,
it was
sir.
legal. They tell you
Yeah.
that. That's one of
Yeah.
the argument that they're using.
Yes,
That it was
sir.
legal. They legalized the brutality of our ancestors and they must be held accountable for it. So it's not a personal thing where we're gonna go after any individual. It's about justice.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
It's about justice.
Ultimately. So we're saying give thanks to the
Yeah.
moment, give thanks to the gathering, give thanks to the ones them who really take the time out for really come and seat up with the item and hold a reasoning about this very significant move in all this turmoil that's going on. You know, in all the turmoil that's going on, we see a very significant move towards the Pan-African struggle being made as small as it is. But we do give thanks for small advances because
Yes.
of the small gains go add up to make a great gain. You see
Big
me?
thing.
So we
True.
do give thanks for that. So we want to say, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Remember to tell your families, your friends to tune in because there's always something on the discussion that can benefit us, something that can elevate us through the thing. And I want to say something because something dawned on me this week as I was going through my journey and my sojourn. I want to say this. Remember that when we are living our lives, right, and things are good, we only think about it when things are good. But we have to give consideration to when things are bad. And when we consider how things will be when things are bad, it will change how we act and operate when things are good. And I just want you to remember that because when things are good, we don't need help. But when things are bad, we need help. So when things are good, you have to behave in a way that would cause people to want to offer and give you help. And that is just something that I want to leave with the item. For this strong, as you go through this strong, just remember that as you move through the day, remember that you might not need help today, but you might need it tomorrow. So move in a way that will cause people to be willing and want to help you. And you should
Friend
also
in
be willing
need is
and
a
want to
friend
Yeah,
help.
man.
indeed.
Yes,
Give
sir.
thanks
Give
for
Yes,
thanks,
life.
you know?
I.
Give
Yes,
thanks for
sir.
life.
What
Yeah,
goes
man. Up
around
on
comes
vibration,
Ja,
around.
my lord. Rastafari.
Rastafari.
Struggle
Rasta
You're
is
right.
continues.
You're
first.
right. You're
Yeah,
right.
man. It's a
Majesty.
yes,
reason
I.
that
This
of
is the
all
thing that
country.
the
You're
fight
Man.
for,
right.
so we are
You're
continue the
right.
fight. Yeah,
Yeah, man.
man. Big up the
Yes.
people who came through.
Upward,
Yeah, man.
upward.
Africa rise. Rise up,
Yes,
Rise
Africa.
sir.
up,
All
rise
right.
Rise
up.
up,
That is
Africa.
it.
Wake up,
Yes, sir.
Africa.
Yes, sir.
Perfectly balanced. Perfect
And
balance.
Yes.
I will be doing a
Yes, sir.
slideshow on the resolution soon.
Yes, sir.
Drop,
It's
drop,
Clear
it- drop,
a
drop
thinking
everything,
with
big
the
Delani.
thing.
Drop,
It's
drop,
a
drop
big
everything
Debunking.
now.
thing on Brother Delani.
Yes,
Yeah.
I.
Oh, we drop it again.
Say it, man. Say it. Say it. Say your
Oh,
thing.
yeah. You can tune
Plug
into
it.
Brother Dolani and Clear
Clear
Thinking
thinking.
with Brother Dolani. You can put at Brother
Yes, sir.
Dolani. Any one of them you put in your YouTube, you can come over and get more continuous Pan-African perspective. Also, we have a new channel called Pan-African Tech Decoded, dealing with all things technology and science
Yes,
and its
sir.
development and application in Africa and African world. So, if you want to, go into the whole, area of technology and science, join me on Pan-African Tech Decoded as well.
Yeah, man.
Thank you
Give
Yes,
very
sir.
much.
thanks.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
give
That
Give
is it.
thanks.
thanks.
That is it.
Yeah, man.
Upward.
Give thanks to all the
Rise
Close it
up.
out,
sisters and the
Yana.
ones who join. Heart of love.
Yes, sir.
Respect.
Every time.
Yeah, Dada. Take a break now, man.
Can't chat to you, man.
Jano.
Jesus.
Close it out, Yana.
That I was still on, so we can't customer answer you.
What the people in show your custom, man.
It's a go on, man.
About chat about.
No, man, I make some good point, though. I make some
Take
good
it down,
point.
Yeah.
Yaka. Take